Hi, I am Mapy. I am 48 years old. I am Colombian. Although I've had so many big crossroads in my life, I guess one of the biggest one was when my family and me and myself decided to move back to Colombia after living in the United States for almost 8 years. Although we had like a very blessed life and most of our friends and family wish they were in our shoes, we had like a different perspective. I was missing my family. I was missing my lifestyle in Colombia. Life in Miami was so crowded and messy and fast. And I felt I didn't have the time for the things that were really important and meaningful for me. But at the same time, if I was to be rational, like Colombia always has been like a mess. And we have guerrilla, we have narco traffic, violence. And in the first place, the reason that we left the country was because we had like a difficult and challenging episode of insecurity in Colombia. So it was hard, like almost for a year, to sleep through the night without like waking up in the middle of the night because of some weird noise. So when we decided to move to Jacksonville, we were like kind of expecting to have like this peace of mind and this feeling of safety again. And of course, we got it, we found it, because of course, the United States is one of the safest places. And it was so nice like to allow our 4-year-old kid by that time to be alone in the park without like any worries about it. And also, I had my 2 brothers living in Jacksonville, Florida. So we were hoping to get the family together and allow Luca, my son, to like experience this kind of family meeting, because my nieces and my nephews are like kind of his same age. So we wanted also to open that space, and this was like the whole backstory behind moving. But at the end, things didn't go as expected, and unfortunately, we had like some kind of disagreement with my brothers. And in 2015, we decided to move to Miami because a former colleague that happens to be like one of my husband's best friends also, like offered me a position and a job in Miami, and I started earning twice the salary I was earning back in Jacksonville. And also I didn't tell you about, like the first stage of moving, what it meant to us when we were like spending our savings in Colombian pesos, which by that time was like 2,000 pesos per $1. And we had to wait like almost for a year to get a work permit. And I had to start working as a nanny after being like a BBVA bank branch manager the Spanish bank, like in the financial district in Bogota, Colombia, like having like a successful career. So of course, all of this, even though they like kind of teach you a lot and give you a lot of learnings about life and make you tougher, of course. Well, it's hard to be like there and to start your life from zero all over again when you are almost 40. So because, you know, if you are young and alone and not married, it's completely a whole different story. But we already had like our life. We already had like our own house. We already had like our career life like established, and it was good and it was fine and it was successful. So all of these plus the conflicts and the different culture, and it's like a completely new different world. So at this point of your life, you start like to ask yourself, so okay, what do I want? What do I really want? What's like the most important thing for me? What's like my priority? So because of course life is a matter of focusing on the what you are winning instead of what you are losing, because you will always win something and lose something. It's like you cannot have like the perfect life you want or you expect. But so this time came when I was like just asking myself, okay, of course I got a lot of things I was expecting and a lot of things that you are supposed to value and that are really important in life, and maybe it's what you are supposed, it's what everyone is supposed to get in life. But what about like what it is important to me, not for the other ones? So at this point of my life in Miami, life got like more busy because Jacksonville is like a smaller town, so it's an easier life. But Miami is crazy, you know what? So yeah, I had a wonderful job and great workmates and the support of my manager. And I was like trying to make the decision to move back, but then my husband wanted like to stay longer. My manager was offering me like a very good opportunity to stay there, so we can sponsor you as a company, so you just have to work on your CV and send all the papers to our lawyers and you just get the green card. And everyone was like, oh, you are so lucky, go for it, it's like a dream come true. But I didn't want to. I didn't even have the energy to start working on my CV and to start working on that documents to send to the lawyers. I tried, but I just didn't want to find the time, because for me that was like going like the opposite way to what I was really feeling inside of me. So we lived in Miami like for six more, like kind of more than 5 years. And I was like in this crossroad like almost the whole time. And then in August 2018, my dad died. And my mom was alone in Colombia dealing with all this pending stuff you have to deal with when somebody dies. And she was so alone, and she was so worried, and she wasn't like used to do things on her own, because she was used like for my dad to do every little simple thing for her. So at that time was like clear that maybe we should like move and help her with all the stuff that was going on. But at the end things didn't flow, but I think that was like the first step to get here sometime. And then the pandemic came. Guess what? March 2020, and this crazy pandemic just came and changed like everyone's life, as you already know. And the bright side of this pandemic is that I was able to start working home office, which would have been impossible without this, because I was like able to do it like once a month, maybe. Yeah, but now like my company has like very straight values of security and safety for their people. So it was like the most important thing just like was to preserve lives and health of like uh, their workers. So in fact, like at this time, like 1 year, more than 1 year, like 1.5 years later, we are like still working home office, like almost the whole company. So with this advantage, I was like I started to talk to my manager and, okay, do you think I can maybe start working from Colombia, and will you be able to help me? I really don't want to stay here anymore. Like I miss my family with all of this that is happening. I just want to go back. I just want Luca to have like another kind of spaces. I know it would be hard because of pandemic, but anyway, it's like I want him like closer to his roots. But that was another thing. Of course, my idea for him wasn't like the best idea. Like being in his shoes. So for by that time 11-year-old, of course, it was like starting all over again from zero, like leaving behind all that he knew, all that he loved. So his friends, his school, like his house, his home where he felt comfortable, like every sense of safety and security for him. So just because like for him, like from like one day to another, like his parents just made that decision. So it was hard. It was hard to also like deal with the different expectations from my husband, from my son, of course, from my point of view. But I just decided to trust myself, to trust like my inner guidance. And I guess everyone just do it like in a different way. Like my husband was asking for everyone's opinion, like asking for our friends and family opinion. And of course, you know, opinions, you will find like one would say, yeah, wonderful, great. The other ones would say, no, how can you even think about it? So, and then, so it could never be like the way you make a decision, like for myself, because you will get so different opinions. I think you will get more confused. So I really chose to listen to myself, because the only one that could really know what to do was myself. But in some way it would be so selfish, because in some way I would be like also deciding for my son and for my husband. So of course I had to try to get to a point where three of us will be kind of happy, which was so difficult, of course.
So
But yeah.
how did you manage to do that? What were the biggest fears you personally had? What were the fears of your husband, of your son, and how did you overcome it? You know, how did you make this balance between what you personally had in yourself, within yourself, and believed is the right thing, and on the other hand maybe that inner voice that also was saying, yes, but everything you did here, everything you made, everything you have.
Yeah, of course, the biggest fear was like the economic crisis that Colombia has been going on since the pandemic started, and the insecurity. Like, of course, when there is economic crisis in a violent country like this one, well, like all the insecurity things will grow up, of course. And then it was like almost the main reason why we left the country. So my husband feels like he's in charge of protecting his family. So he was like really afraid of something bad would happen to us, leaving behind like the what USA was offering us as a really safe place for us to be. I think that was like kind of the main concern, because apart from that, like for me really, and now that I can tell you, but well, I have lived I also lived like in England for more than a year, and I traveled the world, and I really know my husband also lived in Africa for some time. So we could say now by experience that for us, this is like the best place of the world to live in. It's like where our roots are, where we feel at home, where we feel like that kind of safety feeling that only your own country can give you. So of course for Luca was like in a different place. He's now 12. Of course, like how can I don't even know how to speak Spanish well, like my native language is English. How is even people going to understand me well? How am I going to communicate? Um, what about my friends? I won't be able to see them anymore. So how am I going to get some new friends? What if people don't like me? You know, it's like he's almost a teen, of course. So it was hard, but at the same time, well, abuelita, like grandma, is here, and fortunately he has like a really strong connection with her. And also even though we were living in the United States, he was raised like in a very Latin way, and we were also surrounded by friends and people from Colombia, and he had some very good friends. Like, of course, they were like kids. They were born in the United States, but their roots were Colombian. So he was very familiar to our culture in so many ways, and in all the parties, and he knows how to dance. Of course, he knows how to speak. He just does have how to speak Spanish. He just doesn't feel like very comfortable doing it. But I knew that as his mom, I he would be fine. And it would be like he will, of course, he will lose some things, but he will win more than he will lose. So I tried like to comfort him all the time, and like just being with his grandma and everything was for him was like a treat. And now that we are here, like because okay, just following the trail of the story, finally in the middle of pandemic we managed to get a commercial flight in November last year, 2020, and we've been living here like almost like for 8 months. And this is until now, this has been like what I really expected to be. And more than ever, I feel I made like the right decision, and I have these aha moments where I'm just can be grateful for being here. And the feeling, there is no fear, at least for me, even though the chaotic situation around, because it's chaotic, but I guess it's chaotic everywhere. You know, I think pandemic just has changed everyone's lives in so many ways, and has brought so many fears, because like everyone is in fear. Of course, how can you get afraid of getting sick and die, you know? So even though all these chaotic things are happening around the world, I feel safe. And I got back like that feeling of belonging to my own country. And I can see that Luca has won a lot, too many things, like spaces with family, like meeting his family again, like we are warmer people, and he's warm, he's familiar, he's sweet. And so he's getting another kind of attention, another kind of, I don't know, like our original roots and values. And for me, that just means the whole world.
Yeah, I believe you. So looking back now at that decision-making process, what were the most important things you kind of really had in mind when making this decision? What were the steps in that process, and what would you today, from where you are, give as advice maybe to someone who is having a similar dilemma at this moment?
Well, the steps is, of course, trying to get a balance. Well, first of all, it's like being sure of what are your priorities, because if you don't have that clear, it's so difficult to make a decision. So you need to know, what do you want? What do you really want? Not what the other wants, or what the other expects, or what your husband wants, or what your friends or family or your boss. No, you need to know what you really want and be clear on that. When you are clear on that, and when you are clear on what are your top priorities, you just can start, and you just don't miss any opportunity, and you just are able to identify the right path to go. And even though it could take like really long, like in my case, it was years, because like my idea of going back started like, I don't know, 5 years ago. Like it all like kind of starts with a wish from your heart. And then when you are listening to yourself, to your inner self, you just have the path clear in front of you. And then, of course, comes like the practical stuff. Then you also have to be rational and objective, because you cannot just go from a wish from your heart and just leave everything behind, and not taking in account the feelings of the people that are around you, or the safety or the well-being of your family, because yeah, of course you cannot do that. So then comes the practical things, and then it's okay, how can I make sure that I can, what I got here, I can kind of maintain some of this. So how can I do that? Who I can talk to, who can help me, who can support me, what can I do from my side, what can I ask from others to do? And of course, listening to others, it's okay, because you also need to get the whole idea, because maybe you have like a vision of something that was in the past, but now it's totally different. So you also have to make sure that what you are thinking and wishing would be like kind of what you are going to get. So it's like a whole searching, not only inside of you, but of course outside of you. And then like going to also taking into account like all the people that you will be in some way affecting with your decision, in this case my family. So of course I couldn't just wake up one day and say to my husband and my son, hey, because this is a deep wish from my heart, we are moving back to Colombia tomorrow. And I don't care if you don't like it, I just want it. Of course you cannot do that. So it's like a whole process that you have to do it with wisdom. You have to do it with caring for the others. And at the same time that you are like respecting yourself, you have to respect others in their opinions, in their wishes, in their expectations. So it is following your heart, but it's also making sure that you be okay and that the people around you will be okay and that you have like all the support to get there. And that was what happened to me, as I told you, like the whole story. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I don't remember the last part of your question because it was like a long one.
What would be the advice you would give to someone standing at that same life crossroads that you were standing at a year ago?
Just listen to your heart, focus on your goal, go for it, but at the same time be objective and care for the other people and know your priorities. Just make sure that what you are winning or leaving is better than what you are leaving behind. So there is no regrets, because I guess sometimes there is no turning back. So it's so hard to just turn back, which was our case because of the immigration things. It would be so hard, like just we cannot decide to go back to United States tomorrow. So there is no turning back. So I needed to be very, very sure that it was the right decision. But I guess that's only that. Usually you just know in your heart, and then you just take the risk and you just jumped and trust life and trust yourself, because you cannot control anything. Sometimes you just have to let go of all worries and just trust life too. And just trust that you will always be like in the perfect place, and there is some guidance that is far beyond like what our senses can feel and see and hear, and you will be in the right place at the right time. That's the kind of confidence that we need to have when we are in this kind of crossroads, because with your mind, it would be so difficult to get to a wise decision, or you just have to let it go and trust. That's like my own experience. And and it's looking back, it's like everything fell into the right place in a way that if I plan it with my mind and I didn't let it go and I didn't control it, it wouldn't have so perfect. It's like sometimes it's like I get chills. Like I cannot believe it was so perfect. But I guess that's what happens when you make decisions from your heart, and just trust that you are getting to the perfect place at the perfect time.